Hi, everyone. Welcome to the We Got You Mama show. We're so happy that you're here today. I have not one, but two special guests with me today. We have Marta and Zsofia. I'm going to share all about them and then we get to dive in. This is a new topic that we haven't really approached before. I mean, it's a topic that we've approached, but you guys are in for a treat. So, Zsofia is a certified Aviva Method teacher. She's an entrepreneur and a former fashion executive. She was diagnosed with severe PCOS as a teenager and told she might never conceive. She healed naturally through movement and nutrition. Do you guys catch that? How many doctors do we go see where they're like, there's not a chance? She healed naturally through movement and nutrition. After leading global strategy brands like Net-a-Porter, she introduced the Aviva Method from Hungary to the UK and US. And so today she dedicates her work to helping women worldwide reconnect with their bodies and reproductive health. So welcome, Zsofia.
Thank
And
you
her
so much.
partner, Marta Han, who I got to see recently and give her a big squeeze. She's a health coach, a certified yoga teacher, and Aviva Method instructor. So after she navigated infertility and hormonal imbalances herself, she restored her health also naturally through movement, nutrition, and holistic practices. With over a decade of experience and background as a competitive ballroom dancer, I wish we had time to show us some moves next time. She combines specialized knowledge with deep body awareness to help women restore hormonal balance and support fertility naturally. All right. Welcome. Did I miss anything? Welcome.
No,
That was
you're
perfect.
great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
happy
for
to be
coming
here.
on. So we're going to dive right into the things real quick. What is Aviva Method? Just to fill me in on what that is, because it was in both your bios. And I'm sure some people are like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so the Aviva Method actually goes back all the way to the 1960s, and Aviva Gabriela Steiner, who is the godmother of fertility exercises, created this beautiful program for women to really regulate their cycle and boost their ovulation. And she stumbled upon this program by chance because she was a ballet dancer, a yoga teacher, and she just wanted women to move their bodies. But as you taught, hundreds of women, she realized that this pelvic movement and the blood flow actually so nourishing for the female reproductive organs. So she created a whole program that is now very well known in Europe and also in Israel. She is a Hungarian born who lived in Israel, and Zsofia and I are Hungarians, and we went back to Hungary and got certified in the Aviva Method, and then we basically brought it to the US and put it on an online platform in the form of the Fertility Class.
That is so cool. The Fertility Class. I don't know if there's something like that out there, especially in the US. Am I right?
Well, this is the reason why we created the fertility class, because we really struggled. As you mentioned in my bio, I had really severe PCOS. I struggled for so many years. Marta had her own hormonal chaos story, and we really had to dig so deep, trial and error, to try to find healing and get to the root cause of our issues. And so we did find those things. We were able to kind of crawl out of our issues, our respective issues. And 10, 15 years later, we kept hearing the same stories from women because we were teaching this method, in person and in small groups. And women were telling us the same things we were experiencing 10, 15 years ago. So we haven't really moved forward. And so Marta and I, for years we were talking about how this is so necessary. We want to bring this for women. And so finally we launched the fertility class, and this is exactly how we explain it. It's this space that we wish we had, and this knowledge and this kind of movement that is focused on your fertility health. And that's how I was born.
Yeah. I find that I feel like most founders that we have on the show, doctors, like almost everyone are like, oh, I had this issue and I realized the need for it. So I figured it out and then I did it. And now I offer that and I fill that gap. Right. Which is huge. And I freaking love that about women. Right. We're like, oh my gosh, we need this and I'm going to make it happen.
So true.
So what are they specifically and how do they differ from regular, exercise classes? Because I mean, I was talking to Marta about this when we met last week, and I'm a certified trainer and instructor in pre and postnatal yoga, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this should, the more I heard about it, thinking like this should be introduced to all platforms, right? Especially women platforms and instructors and groups, like Fit for Mom, where I used to own a franchise. It should be introduced to these communities, right? So what makes them different? What makes these exercises different?
Yes, fertility exercises are completely different from really any kind of other exercise that you've done before. A lot of what we do is focused on fitness and physical appearance and stress relief, and no other exercise method is focused on your fertility health. And that means your hormonal balance, that means your cycle health, your menstrual cycle health, and general well-being, which is all tied to that. But these exercises are physically focused on your reproductive system, the muscles that surround your reproductive organs that you're contracting and finding and working. And we tap into reflexology points that are directly linked to your hypothalamus, your reproductive organs. All of these movements are there to address the system, to open it up, to really physically work all of these systems so that your body can create this hormonal balance and better fertility. And so we like to think about it as physical therapy for your fertility. It really is something that we want women to practice for a few months. This is not something that you do here and there or a couple of times. This is kind of therapy that you practice, but it's disguised as a beautiful, dance-like movement session with great music, and you come to have fun. But it is really different from other exercise methods, and all of those things you mentioned are important. And whether it's strength training, yoga, Pilates, they all have their place. But you can actually exercise for your fertility and menstrual health, and that's a beautiful thing. And this is why we thought it was so important to introduce it.
It's fascinating. What do people, okay, so let's say they put in, 4 or 5 months, what do they come out learning, right? What do they discover maybe about their bodies from after really investing some time and consistency into the fertility class?
So women usually come to us with specific goals or issues. Most of our ladies struggle with infertility, but that's usually more complex than this because they also have PCOS or endometriosis, missing cycles, irregular cycles. So we have to address the entire endocrine system and also nervous system. So when they start with us, they learn the method slowly, step by step. So they don't just jump in and start to move their hips. They know that each exercise supports ovulation or regulating cycles, or it's there to open up blocked fallopian tubes. And then once they learned individual movements, we put it together and created the signature sequence, which is 30 minutes long, and it addresses the entire endocrine system and reproductive organs. So you only do it 3 times a week because these are really stimulating exercises. That blood flow, that blood circulation can stay there for days and nourishing the female body. And we usually hear women say that they notice that their cycle is more regular, that cervical mucus quality is more visible, the ovulation signs are stronger, and they just feel that especially because we sit so much every single day, like most of us tied to a desk, to a screen. So women who, sit 10, 12 hours a day, their pelvic muscles and core muscles are very tight and rigid. So once they start to do these hip circles and pelvic tilts, they just like the whole pelvis comes to life because of the blood flow, because that extra circulation. So they just feel more alive than ever before, because when you sit and you sit like, as I just did, like, we think about, when we do the exercises, we think about posture, we think about core muscles. There are certain exercises that are there to support the reproductive organs, and that's all about having nice and strong core muscles. And then when you sit, you really don't move your pelvis, right? So I see it every single time that women have a hard time to do a simple pelvic tilt because it's just so stiff. So once, the circulation starts to improve, and we also do a lot of stretches, it just frees them, not freeze them, free them up.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. I mean, and I've also heard women hold a lot of tension in their hips just naturally,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of tension
Emotional tension, also not just physical. So it's just such a beautiful, as Zsofia said, it's not really an exercise. It's a dance like movement method. Like, because when you say exercise, most women think about like a gym workout, and it's anything but. It's a whole body movement to music. It's rhythmic. It's beautiful. It really also helps them to reconnect with their feminine energy, which is so often just gets lost, as we age, especially.
Yeah. I mean, you and I were talking a lot about who is this for, right? And we talked about, so like my teenager can do this stuff if she's having issues around her period. And so can we talk a little bit more about that? Is it, for women just trying to conceive? Is it for women in their 20s, 30s? Is it a method I can introduce to, my 15-year-old? And male fertility, right? What about male fertility? I know there's a section on your site that talked about that too. And so like, it's all just, it all ties together. Like we all have the system inside of us, right? So it shouldn't really be one specific, age group of women who, are trying to conceive, right? So tell me more about like the different age groups and a little bit more about male fertility, because we don't often, they're never the problem. They're just never the problem, right?
It's 50-50.
It's a 50-50 equation. I mean, I would think about it as, what is your body telling you? Do you have a pain-free ovulatory regular cycle? If not, if you have any kind of pain or lack of signs of ovulation, if you are unable to get pregnant, this is about women, then you need to provide your body tools to be able to heal that. And I think, when we say that, we automatically think of supplements, medication, things that you take externally, but there's actually movement that can be medicine for your body. And this is exactly it. So if your teen has debilitating PMS, painful periods where they have to miss school, that's a sign that something is imbalanced. So in that case, absolutely can be beautifully used. I mean, we even hear of teenagers, and we have had teenagers who violently throw up right before the first day of their period because of hormonal imbalances. So this can be very helpful. And especially with that young age group, this can resolve from one cycle to the next, or, certainly see changes very quickly. So let's say, you're not ovulating, you haven't been able to conceive, there's some underlying issues there, but that also means that, something is imbalanced. So you can use this blood flow to Marta's point, kind of affect some of all the sitting that we're doing and the stressful lifestyles. I mean, it really restricts blood flow. in the pelvis. And for some women, they'll say, I'm doing it all. I've done it all. I eat well, I exercise, I meditate. I try to get to all the pillars for my fertility health. And sometimes this can be the missing link, because everything that you're doing for your hormones through food and sleep and mental health regulation, you still need those messages in your blood to reach your reproductive organs. So sometimes this really, if that's cut off, if somebody has pelvic congestion, blocked fallopian tubes, those messages are not going to reach your organs, or those organs won't be able to communicate with each other if they're misaligned. It can be something as simple as having a tilted uterus. I think so many women are told that they have a tilted uterus and might have a hard time conceiving. It's a mobile organ, through movement, through exercise. You can absolutely resolve that. It was something that I was told I have. And then I was never
solutions, right?
I mean, you think there's no solutions, but then you think about it.
Tell you that there's no solutions, typically.
But then, of course, you think about it, like movement. You can absolutely move that organ. I don't want to say back in its place. I mean, it's mobile. So it's just it's something that you can move with your pelvis and through these kind of specific movements. And then later in life, it can be useful as well. Perimenopause, menopause, such a buzzword. These days, we don't think about movement as something that can address some of those symptoms. And there's other tools. This is not to say this is the only one, but this can be such a nice supportive element to all of the other things that you may be doing to address those symptoms. So this can really be a really nice tool for the entire reproductive time of a woman. Long-winded way to answer your question, that this can really be so supportive from puberty to menopause. And the same goes for men. So this lifestyle, the sitting, the stressing, lifestyle choices that aren't conducive to fertility also affect men. So just by working, blood flow, by working their pelvic floor, some of these reflexology points can really have a huge impact on their sperm health. So it is just as important for them as well.
It's awesome. Oh my gosh. Can they do I want to see them all doing classes together. The teenager, the dad, the mom,
that was actually fun.
And then my little,
we'll put it on our list.
Learns it before she even enters that space, and she's like, "I already know this stuff. I know a completely healthy pelvic floor." I mean, how cool
we'll put it on our long list of classes.
That language and those active movements and these things that are healthy for us, like from an early age, so that they know and they're informed and they have options. And like you said, it might not be the one thing that fixes all the things, right? Because I mean, we're a complex human being, but it can add to, and I think, and that add to that missing puzzle piece can often make all the difference, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's complementary. That's why we work with, other providers, especially like acupuncturists, doulas, doctors, everybody who kind of understand the whole, system that we work with. They so happy to welcome us. It's just like we are one piece in the puzzle.
Yeah. And you can't feel complete without that final piece, right? Like there's always
movement in general. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I think everybody knows that movement is medicine and movement is good for you. But when it comes to fertility health, and if you have fertility issues, like what kind of movement you choose, it actually makes a huge difference. Because movement, if you do like, cardio or HIIT training, that's actually when you have already a hormonal imbalance, that counterproductive. It's gonna actually push you even more off from balance. So you wanna actually choose more nourishing movements, like those hip tilts, that is able to nourish the reproductive organs and also soothe your nervous system. So I think it's important for women to know that you have to choose the right kind of movement for your individual needs, and it can change time to time, right? So not necessarily doing the same thing for the entire time of your lifespan.
Yeah, no, and I can attest to that because I used to teach group fitness classes. HIIT classes were like my favorite thing, and I taught those all the time. And then I got to like my perimenopause stage in life, and I was like, this does not feel good at all.
See?
Instead of energizing me, making me feel good and strong, it really did the opposite. And I'm like, what is happening to my body? Right. And that's when I kind of went back to like hot yoga and doing my Pilates thing. And my body was like, okay, thank you so much. We were like struggling there, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, we don't know what we don't know. Right. So many of us feel like, oh, I'll never be the same again after babies. Like, how many times do we hear that? You know, I'll never have my body back, you know, which is so horrible. Like, we're here to move forward, not to go back. We're a different person, you know? How can these exercises help them reconnect with their bodies? Because I think it's really important. And I talk a lot about it in my book, just reconnecting with ourselves, period, right? Stop listening to all the noise. And let's get back to those instincts that we're born with, you know what I mean? And I feel like your classes feel that kind of intuitiveness, right? In the movement.
I would love to think so. Yeah, they definitely gentle and we are not the trendy movement class by any means. Like we try to make it, visibly beautiful, but it's really turning the focus in and down to the pelvis and really feeling those muscles move. I often ask the ladies to put your hand on your pelvis. And when you do that, the hip circle, just feel how the muscles immediately engage and start to work. Like you don't have to do like crazy things to work your body.
Right.
And I think especially after pregnancy, when you went through a huge transformation, right? You grew a baby, you birthed a baby, now you care for a baby. I mean, that's a real full-time job. You don't need to run back to the gym to do HIIT exercises right away. It has its time and place, and by all means, do it if that feels good for you. But most women, because they don't sleep, they feed around the clock, like something nourishing, something peaceful, something rhythmic is so much better for them, right? And you start with like posture, breathing. Okay, where is my pelvic floor? Where is my pelvic muscle? So just like engaging the core again, like start slowly and you build up to, so you can go back to the gym, in whatever, 6 months or 12 months or whenever you are ready.
Yeah.
And it's also incredibly important for their mental health. So many women struggle post-birth, and this is a big part of it. And it's hormonal. A large part of mental health issues are hormone related because, again, you have this hormonal chaos, and your body does need as long to recover as long it took you to grow and birth that baby. So giving yourself that time and finding ways to nourish yourself and balance yourself really helps you mentally as well. And I always say this, but the body is incredible. And we just need to find those tools, those really supportive pillars, and they're very basic things really that can help you get back into balance. But I think we tend to punish our bodies. There's something with women where we, it starts in a young age, but I feel like it takes us through, again, most of this reproductive lifetime where we're just not taught to nourish it. But that's where this balance comes from, and it's mind and body. And so it's especially important in that post-birth phase or stage.
And I'm sure we've all seen it to the next extreme, especially in dance, Marta, right? Zsofia in fashion, right? We see that kind of warped idea of, the size you should be or what have you. I grew up in the modeling world since 15, you know what I mean? And so it's a very hard idea to come back from when it's like your job relies on it, right? Like on how you perform, on how you look, on how you present yourself. And then
so toxic, so
it is
damaging.
so toxic.
Yeah.
And then after babies, to be fired from what you do in a sense, you know what I mean? like in my case, an agent that, was no longer willing to represent me because I wasn't, after 3 months back into whatever size, they needed. It's like,
Oh my God.
it's hard enough coming back into just how society presents, in the media, right, of what women, should look like, and the postpartum experience that we see a lot of these celebrities going through. I mean, we probably grew up more in a time where social media was brand new, and so it was no one was telling their real stories, right? No one was like, look at my leaking boobs and look at my diaper, like at postpartum, right? Like, I don't remember seeing any of that.
No.
So I love that we're being more honest and real and open about it, but that it still exists, that kind of how hard we are on ourselves to get back to something, or to return to our 25-year-old self. I mean, my mother still talks about it.
Yeah.
Getting back to her pre-pregnancy weight. I was like, Mom, you're awesome and you're fit, and also you're almost 70. Like, can we not talk about being 25 anymore? Because that's weird. Like, you're not meant to be 25-year-old. You can feel like a 65, 60-year-old. Like, we can reverse that biological clock by really, really honing in and taking care of ourselves. But this idea of like yeah,
that aging gracefully is so hard. I think, especially here in LA, nobody gets old, like nobody, and everybody is just so skinny. It's like we almost disappearing as women. Like if you take up space, like oh my God, and it's really damaging. And I, as a former dancer who underate, overtrained, and completely ruined my body and fertility, I'm really sensitive to this topic. I'm turning 47, and I'm the biggest and strongest I ever been in my life. Like I have a solid 25 pounds on me versus when I was in my 20s, and I do not want to go back. Like I think looking back, that's not the future. You want to look forward, you want to build yourself up. Like if a man looks big and masculine and it's like, oh wow, you look great. But like if we have some, muscle on, it's like, ooh, it's not healthy.
ooh, watch out.
Exactly.
So we're gonna like it's interesting too, like getting into your mid 40s and later, like I don't care as much anymore. So can we like give some advice to these younger moms that like let's help you get there sooner, right? Let's help you get to this place of like, I don't give a anymore what you all think, and really get back to yourselves and get back to reconnecting with yourselves. And that's a really, really important relationship, right? That's what we have.
I mean, what we see with our members is that some people were never told how, why nutrition is important and how that's going to make you feel if you just make those few tweaks, that's going to nourish your body, or why sleep is important. We tend to put sleep last. Everybody's constantly stressed throughout the day. We were not taught tools to, really lower that temperature and just take that time. That felt like we were not creating, we were not busy, and therefore, that was something wrong that you would be doing. So what we see in our work is that once we simply explain why these things are important and how they affect your hormonal health and your overall well-being, and then they implement it for a few weeks and feel so different, it just completely switches not just their thinking and their lifestyle, but also this body awareness and image. Because all of a sudden it's not about the looks, it's about how I'm functioning, and you feel so much better. And then I think you can be so much more comfortable in your skin and so much more grateful for your aging, because your body is working for you, not against you. And it just, that changes your perspective. So I think this is why these conversations are so important, because no one had them around us growing up, certainly not me, not from my parents, not from my teachers, not from my peers. It was all very secretive. And yes, there's an information overload, but at the same time, we're open about these things that, we never talked about periods at school or at, first jobs. And now it's a very different conversation. And I think that serves a lot of women well, because it opens this awareness. So thank you for conversations like this, because I think it is very important.
It is. No, it's extremely important. Because if we don't have them, and if we don't put ourselves first, how does that bleed into everything else, right? Our home, our children, that ripple effect is so huge. And we so often think that, oh, it's so selfish. Like, no, it's not. It's necessary. It's necessary because then we get to fill other people's cups because ours is not empty anymore. You know what I mean? And that ripple effect, honestly, it changes the world when you think about it. Because if we're building healthy bodies and then we're helping our little people build healthy bodies, and they're going out in the world and helping other people be happy and healthy, that changes communities, and that ripple effect
Completely.
is so huge. And this
Completely agree.
this age that we're in, where it's like now we're all talking about it, but we're not necessarily finding all the solutions, right? I think it's like, yes, let's talk about it, and then let's find things that really work for us, like the fertility class, like getting that second and third opinion. You know what I mean? When something doesn't resonate in the healthcare facility that you might be going to. I think I learned a lot about that at this summit that Marta and I met at, and just don't give up on you. Like, we can come to a place of healthy and happy and whole, right? Let's really, really seek after this holistic approach because it's available, and our bodies are waiting, and our bodies want that. And so thank you so much. Thank you so much for really, like, going across the seas to like gain this training, you know what I mean? And bring it back and inform our moms and help them out. What is, we'll close with like, what's one success story of a client that has come to you guys that you've maybe loved and loved talking about?
I'll tell you our latest success story, which is from a few days ago. This lovely 44-year-old woman came to us who hasn't had her period for over 6 months. She thought she was in menopause at that young age, and was thinking about getting a donor egg to then carry her own child. And she started exercising with us, and within 2 weeks she had her period, which is amazing. I think a lot of people think that once your periods go away in your 30s and 40s, it's just early menopause and that's it. But she got her period back, excuse me. Now she's looking for signs of her ovulation so that, hopefully she will be ovulating and we'll be able to have her cycles and fertility back, and we'll be able to conceive, whether it's naturally or via treatment. But to give this kind of hope to women who come to us and completely disappointed in their bodies, and they think that's it for their fertility, and to be able to get that back, which I want to emphasize that this wouldn't happen in your 60s, 70s. You can override your body, but there are tools to impact your fertility and your cycle health. And so this is just hot off the press story from a few days ago. But we have lots of women who have gone through many fertility treatments and have started practicing and were able to conceive, whether naturally or through treatment. We have so many amazing stories of women kind of reclaiming their health, and so it's very rewarding work, obviously.
It is. You're like helping miracles come to fruition, right? Like something that they maybe thought they would never be able to have, and they get to have that, which is, I'd be like crying.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I'm so happy that you found this. I'm so happy for you. You're having a baby, and you didn't think you were gonna have a baby.
To see the progression between someone who comes to you, who is so disappointed in the world, in themselves, have given up. They're just these like broken people, and to then, have these conversations 3, 4, 5 months later, and they're able to have their miracle is it's the best kind of work.
Yeah, it's like their light is back, right? And there's that.
Oh, and they're different people. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Just, Zsofia and Marta making dreams come true over here and producing miracles. Well, we need more people like you in our world. So we're going to get the word out there. We're going to put all the information in the show notes. I was talking to Marta about, I was like, we need to get more people trained and we need to install these like all over. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, yes. And so we are
I
on
loved all your ideas. You are like a true entrepreneur. Like your mind just works differently. Love
Yeah,
that.
no, but I do agree. This is bigger than us. You know,
It
this is kind of a lost tool that we're here to bring back. And, you know, we do need more women on this mission. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
understanding, you know, what we're trying to build
Yeah,
and
100%.
spread the word on.
It's huge. So don't forget to check out the show notes. Head on over to thefertilityclass.com and sign up and forward this on. So if this resonates with you, if you think that if you're hearing this and you're like, oh my gosh, my friend needs this in their life, or my cousin or my sister or my aunt, whatever, forward this episode on to them. You can get to know Zsofia and Marta, you know, in an interview setting, and then you can head on over to their site and start taking some classes and witness your life change, which is like a powerful statement. But people are changing; their lives are changing for the better because you guys brought this to us here, which is huge, and it's online, so anyone in the world can access it, which is so beautiful that we get to live in this sort of global community now, right? This global community of mothers, which is really special. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Zsofia. Thank you, Marta, for joining us. And
Thank you so much.
Oh, I forgot my closing line. Marta's got you. Zsofia's got you. I got you. We got you, Mama. And until next time, be safe, be well, and we love you.